A very good afternoon to everybody. Now we are moving on to our next event by Ahmedabad chapter about stories of agile mindset and agile leadership by Dr. Khushru, who is a CEO at Tasha Technologies, and we are looking forward to amazing story incidents with him. And again, we would like to thank our founding sponsor, Innovation Roots, which is a leading consulting and training service provider and helping organizations to achieve business agility and beyond. Also, we would like to thank Agile, which is a product offering from Tata Consultancy Services, for being the sponsor. It is a purely cloud-based enterprise agile planning tool along with DevOps capabilities, and enterprises can use Agile to adopt Agile practices or scale across multiple Scrum and Kanban teams using different frameworks like SAFe, Disciplined Agile, less and more. So without any further ado, let's begin with our Ahmedabad chapter event about stories of Agile mindset and Agile leadership with Dr. Khushru. Welcome, Dr. Khushru.
Hi, Nupur. Thank you very much for the introduction. Just one clarification that I am not Dr. Khushru, I am Khushru Doctor. So doctor comes behind my name, not before. I have never studied to be a doctor. I was born a doctor. Okay.
Oh, that's amazing. So over to you.
Thank you. Yeah. So guys, welcome to this session. Thank you for sparing the time on a real cold Saturday morning afternoon to attend this session. First, a little bit of story of how this session was born. When we were discussing about the possibility of taking this session, both of us, like with when I was discussing it with Innovation Roots, we faced a common problem that people do not understand the exact meaning of what agile is. And maybe many a times we see that having a stand up in the morning or doing something about the story backlogs or all that, and people say, no, we are agile. We use Scrum process. We are agile. And that is there, it cannot be further from truth. And that is why we decided to have this session, which concentrates on creating a mindset, an agility mindset, which is very different from the way you think in a regular session, the regular way of working. So, and that is where we thought that we will introduce the agility concept by itself, and then see how that agility affects the leadership of affects leadership. And that is where we decided to have a session called Stories of Agile Mindset and Agile Leadership. A little bit of myself, a little introduction. I am Khushru Doctor. I am the founder of Tasha Tech Info Solutions Private Limited, an IT services company. It is an IT services company. I have 30 plus years of experience in the field of IT. I'm a certified Scrum Master since last 10 plus years, conducted multiple trainings on Agile, Scrum implementations in IT and non-IT worlds. We have gone to really, even in the manufacturing world, we have done Agility and Scrum Kanban implementation trainings. I hold multiple professional certificates, like I am a certified information systems auditor, I am a project management professional, I am a Six Sigma green belt. I also have a diploma in innovation and design thinking from Emeritus. So I am a visiting faculty as well as a guest faculty at a lot of prestigious academic institutions, including IIM Ahmedabad, Dhirubhai Ambani Institute of Information and Communication Technology, Ahmedabad University, and a few more. Okay, so if at all you want me to help you in any way or answer any question to you, feel free to reach out to ANI or to me and through my email, and we can discuss anything about agility concepts or about project management principles, processes, so on and so forth. The rules of this seminar remain the same that were for the previous seminar and for the following seminars, that you ask questions. You can write questions on the chat, and maybe around the end of the seminar, we'll answer all your questions. If you feel that there is a point that you need to make in the middle of the seminar, which we would discourage, but if at all you feel that there is an urgent need of making that point, which is always welcome, put your hand up, and then we can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself and then ask that question. Okay, so we start off with this. Also, I would say that I will ask a few questions. So in that, to answer those questions, feel free to unmute yourself and answer those questions. Okay. So the stories of agile mindset and agile leadership. We have to be very agile in this COVID world, where we are all changing the way seminars happen, the way talks happen, have all changed from the physical talks to most of the talks being virtual these days. Okay, so this is the copyright. So yeah, I own the copyright and all that. You can have a read whenever you get a copy of it. That's it. Okay. So the first question is, what is agility? What do you understand by the English word agility? And there is a very good definition given in Wikipedia. Wikipedia talks about agility or nimbleness. It is both are called correlated words. Is an ability to change the body's position efficiently. So if you are at a standstill and you can change your body or change the course of action or the way things are happening fast, that is agility. Agility talks about balance, static and dynamic. Agility talks about speed, how fast you can react, how fast you can move. Agility talks about strength, strength to bear the change, strength to perform the change. And finally, it talks about coordination. So this is a very, very beautiful definition of agility that has been provided by Wikipedia. Okay. Moving on, there are two pictures I'm going to show you. There are rather four pictures. There is picture combination one, where we have a person running, and there are a few people doing hurdles. And on the right, there is a boxing match happening, as well as a football match happening. So my question to you would be, which according to you would be displaying or giving a show of agility? Where is agility required?
Right side, because they are
Sorry.
responding when there is a kick, or where there is a football, they have to change their mind and act accordingly.
Okay, so there is one hypothesis that says that it is the pictures on the right express agility. Is there a differing view coming in from somebody? Anyone who says number one is agility? There was one view, somebody said the picture combination two displays agility. Anyone? No. So
Yeah,
absolutely right. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
One is also agility, because
yeah.
there we have to change our pace based on competition.
Based on competition. Okay.
And
Okay.
based on the hurdles, you have to be agile or
I
change
that is
action.
that was the complexity that I introduced. Hurdles. These hurdles are known hurdles. These hurdles are planned hurdles. There is no change happening dynamically. You know that after every 2 meters or 5 meters or 10 meters, there will be a hurdle. Okay. Yes, agreed that there will be a change based on how your opponent is running, but that change is very, very minimal. Okay. This event, the picture combination on the left, that is picture combination one, is typically known as speed. It is vertical acceleration. You are just going to run. Even if there is nobody, you are going to run, and you are going to clock your personal time. Yes, there might be a slight change based on your opponent, but you can typically train for it. There are no sudden changes. There will not be a place where all of a sudden somebody will put a hurdle on in your path. No, that is planned. You know the track. You know that there will be hurdles after every uh, 5 meters or 7 meters. The path is known, and practice is possible for the exact task. For the exact task, how it is going to happen, wind conditions, temperature, everything, it is possible to practice. While the set of pictures on the right talk about agility, you do not know from where the next punch is going to come. You do not know from where the next ball is going to be placed. The ball will react according to how it is kicked by an opponent, and there is nothing that you can practice for exactly. So this is agility. The change is constant. The person throwing the punch will surprise you. He is also acting to defend himself. So that change is constant. It is coming in fraction of a second. It is coming in very fast. The changes are sudden, fast. Then there is a constant reaction. When the change is there, the reaction also has to be there. Somebody throws a punch, you have to defend it, or you are gone, right? So this is agility. This is nimbleness. There is, if you understand, there is 3 minutes of a boxing round. That 3 minutes is intense. So many changes. The 45 minutes of a football game half is fast. Everyone kicking, everyone defending. Each game is unique. Each game is unique. If you put two games side by side, you will never be able to find any similarity between two games, whether it is a boxing match or it is a football match. So agility is about change. Agility is not about direct straight acceleration, right? Moving on. So how does it, what is the effect it has on coaching, on the leadership? How does the speed or agility affect the ability? How do you prepare for it? How do you train for it, right? When you talk about agility or speed, your coaching is much more systematic. I'm not saying easy. You have to train. The training is intense. The training has to be up to date. But you can train for the exact event. People know that, okay, if I'm going to run in Delhi, then they know the track. They know what to do. They know 100 meters. They know 110 meters of the hurdles. So they know everything, right? While for to coach or to train for a football match or a boxing match, it is absolutely, you have to react. There is no coach, there is no support that is available to you. The coach or the support staff sits outside the game. They are not going to be there. They cannot train you for everything. You have to react according to what is being thrown at you. If a ball is going to be thrown that comes to you, you have to decide whether you want to pass, you want to send it to the right, you want to send it to the left, you have to send it in the air. So all that decisions have to be taken on the ground. You cannot be instructed for the exact event. Training for multiple alternatives is possible, but never for the exact event. So that is the difference between agility and uh, uh, straight speed. Agility is about nimbleness. Agility is about reaction. So agility, what is agility? Coming back once again, agility is nimbleness. Agility is about reaction to change. That is, if you cannot react to change, then you are not agile. Okay, agile is a punch getting thrown at you, you moving out. If you are driving in the city like Ahmedabad, you have to be agile. Okay, there are a lot of traffic coming in from multiple directions. That is agility. So the definition, you know this proverb, change is the only constant. And let's take a few examples of what happened when market leaders or businesses either accepted change or did not accept change. And the biggest story is about a company failing because it was not able to accept change is BlackBerry. People who know BlackBerry know that BlackBerry at one point of time was the market leader. It was a style statement. If you did not have a BlackBerry phone with you, that meant that you were not a successful businessman. It was a sign of success. It was like the de facto standard for enterprise secure communication. Slowly Android was gaining ground, but BlackBerry never decided to react to Android or iPhone. It said it stuck to what it had to do, what it wanted to do. And you know where it is today. It is nowhere today. The next similar example, Nokia. Nokia at one point of time, the market leader, people would not say, I have a mobile device. People would say, I have a Nokia, right? Such was the domination of Nokia in the mobile market that people would really swear by Nokia as a mobile device. Only phone, many a times the only phone available in the market. No choice also, right? Again, Android, again, iPhone uh, came up as a challenge. Nokia was not reactive. Nokia stuck with its Symbian operating system. Symbian operating system was very cumbersome to use, very, very difficult to use. People moved out to cheaper, easier, better alternatives. They could not read the market. They could not read the change. Another example as to how a company accepted change and repositioned itself and succeeded is the biggest example is IBM. IBM was a world leader in personal computing devices. It was literally like a standard for um, uh, workstations, personal workstations, and laptops. But at one point of time, it felt that it is not in a position to stand up to the challenge of the new companies that are coming in. What it did, it sold off. It sold off its workstation business, laptop business to Lenovo. Today, it has repositioned itself as a enterprise solution provider. It provides solutions only in the enterprise. It has again regained its position as a leader in the market. Another big example is Microsoft. Microsoft was born because of change. Okay, Microsoft was never into any business of software development. Microsoft was a product, was a baby of change. If you know the original story of how Microsoft was born, uh, it was never creating operating systems. When IBM came out with the PC, the personal computer, the first company to write an operating system for IBM was DR, Digital Research. Digital Research wrote DOS 1, DOS 2. Then Digital Research said, we don't think we have enough market for our software. So we don't want to enter into this market at all. And IBM was caught stranded. IBM reached out to a group of people, including Bill Gates, Paul Allen, and a lot of others. And they said, can you write an operating system for us? They said, sure. IBM itself at that point of time felt that they did not have a huge market. So Microsoft negotiated a deal with IBM. That deal said Microsoft can sell the DOS outside of IBM also. IBM did not, even though the whole concept was IBM's concept, IBM did not do anything proprietary agreements with Microsoft. Microsoft said fine. And you know history. Today, Microsoft is the world's most, one of the world's most costly company, valuable company. Microsoft saw a need for change, and that's where they stepped in. Another company, huge company, again, road change. Was Google the first search engine? No, there were a lot of search engines before Microsoft was uh, even there. There was Alta Vista. There is Ask Jeeves. There is Ask Me. Lot of search engines that were there in the market. When Google came in with its minimalistic design of having a white page and only one text box to enter data, the other search engines, which were very complex and very well accepted during that time, laughed Google off. They said, no, Google, a person with this kind of minimalistic design can never succeed in the serious market. And again, you know where the what has happened to Google. Google has become world leader. All the other search engines have now either died or are into different ball games altogether. So these are 5 examples of how companies embraced change. They became agile to the market situations and they reacted to it. And that is where they succeeded or they failed miserably. Okay. Agility in software development. Agility in software development in a very professional systematic way came about in the year 2000. I don't know whether any one of you is aware, but there is a report that gets published every year which is known as the chaos report. Chaos report is published by a company that is known as the Standish Group, which studies IT projects and studies the reasons for the failure of IT projects, not the success. It does negative. It studies the failure of projects and comes up with a report year on year which says what is the reason for projects failing in the previous year. It's a very interesting report to read, but the only problem is it's a paid report. You will have to pay money for it. Old reports come out on the internet, so you can have a look at those reports, and they will give you a fair understanding as to the reasons why software projects fail. And statistics, 90s statistics of US government projects failing was published. Approximately 250 billion worth of projects were done by the US government, out of which 31.1% projects were cancelled before completion. Right? So that is a huge, around $80 million, 80 plus $90 million worth of projects were literally cancelled before they could be completed. And out of the rest, 52.7% of the projects ended up costing around 189% more. Right? So that is the kind of chaos that was existing in the, and still exists. It's not that we have solved all problems in the software development process, but it is reduced. And then they compared this with bridge building projects. Around similar worth of bridge building projects were done by the US government. And to the surprise, they found out that 90% of the projects were completed on time and on budget. Only 10%, around 10% of the projects were behind schedule or were behind budget. And what was the difference between the two? The difference between the two was that the software was getting built for businesses where the change was coming very often. The processes would change, the government regulations would change, the scenario would change, the technology would change, a lot of things would change. And all of a sudden they found out that the process or the software is incapable of handling change, and hence it was cancelled. While bridge building, once you had designed a bridge, you know the land where the bridge needs to be built. You know what is the material to be used. You know the manpower that is required. Everything was known. And hence, when there was less change, at that point of time, the projects were more successful. So the software development projects were not in a position, they found out, to handle change. So what happened? In the spring of 2017, intelligent software developers met in Oregon, USA to discuss how they could speed up development times in order to bring new software faster. There was a discussion about how to bring new software to the market faster. How do you improve the possibility of the new software getting delivered instead of projects getting cancelled? And they recognize two key opportunities, and that is shortening the delay of demonstrating the benefits to the users. How they wanted to cut down on the time to show to the end users what was getting developed or how they would benefit out of the software that was getting developed. And the second was getting feedback from the users quickly to confirm the usefulness. So those are the two key opportunities that came out of this discussion between these 17 software developers. And they decided to meet again. They met again in 2001 at Snowbird, which is a very famous ski resort in Utah. And in 3 days, they laid down the foundation of Agile Manifesto. And this manifesto is what even still drives all agile practices. So when you say that a particular software development methodology or a particular manufacturing methodology is agile, then you internally say that it adheres to the Agile Manifesto. And in 3 days, as with everything in Agile, the basic principle is keep it simple. The KISS principle, keep it simple and stupid. Okay, so that is what it was. And the Agile Manifesto, the four basic principles were written down in the Agile Manifesto, and they were: individuals and interactions are more necessary over processes and tools. You might not want to use any processes or tools, but if you are in an environment where you can talk with your person, talk with your team, then that is very, 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 very important. A working software is more important than comprehensive documentation. Not that no documentation, comprehensive documentation. Only do that amount of documentation that is necessary and that you can keep up to date. Many a times we are forced, we hear these words that are getting said, saying, okay, this is what is mandated by a process. No, the process does not mandate any documentation. Only do the documentation that you can read and you can keep up to date. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Collaborate with your customer, see what his needs are, adhere to those needs, satisfy those needs, and responding to change over following a plan. If you have a plan and that needs to change, change it, right? They say in management that never fail to plan. But if you have planned, and if you think that there is a change required, change the plan. Okay, don't say don't say that, oh, I cannot do this because the plan does not allow for it. Okay, moving on. And these became the value of agile methodology. So when Agile Manifesto was published, it had 4 values and 12 principles of agility. And these principles you can read. For shortage of time, I will not go into all the 12 agile principles, but there are some things that really need a mention, right? And that is continuous simplicity and the art of maximizing the amount of work not done. Typically, we concentrate, a lot of processes we have seen concentrates on the amount of work done. XYZ ने इतना काम किया, XYZ ने इतना काम नहीं किया. But what we need to do is how much work is necessary to complete the project. We need to concentrate on that. And if you see, if you observe the Scrum process, it is beautifully shown in the burn down chart. If you understand the burn down chart is typically tracking the amount of work not done. The burn down chart will tell you still need to do 5 more days of work to arrive at the storyboard value of 0. So these are things that agility imbibed in itself, right? This is very important for us to understand, and for people who follow agile processes, who really want to use agile processes, have to read and have to imbibe on the 2 things. Very important for any agile process is the agile values, 4 agile values and 12 agile principles. Very important. Okay. So now we come to the leadership part of agility. What does the agile leadership need to focus on? Agile leadership needs to focus on change. Very important word and everywhere when we talk about agility, we will talk about change. Change is the only constant in any process. A process is as matured as per the ability it has to manage and handle change. Manage a heterogeneous team. If you study Scrum, you know the team has to be heterogeneous. How do you create heterogeneity in your team? How do you force a developer to do a testing job? How do you force a front-end developer to do a back-end task? And that is where with the progress and the implementation of agility, you get the new terminology called full stack developers. We have developers which are full stack, people who do front end, who do back end, who do design, who do testing, all of that in a all comprehensive manner. Self-managing teams. Since we all know that we are going to talk about a concept called a coach and not a manager. A manager is a person who manages, who gives you tasks, who assigns. But as we saw in the football match, if you see in the football match, the coach will not be on the ground. The coach will not know what is happening on the ground. He will not even know how to kick a ball. But he's the best coach because he can show you when, he can train you to how to kick a ball efficiently. But the kicking of the ball, the task has to be done by you. And he will not come on the ground and say, okay, now you kick, now you kick, now you kick. No, you have to know that it is my turn now to kick and it is now my turn to score a goal. That is what you do. And finally, maximizing the amount of work not done. Very important for the coaches and the agile leadership to understand how this, how to maximize on the work not done. Okay, moving on. Agile leadership. Agile leadership talks about 4 qualities in any agile, the 4 prominent qualities. A lot of other qualities are absolutely inherent, but 4 major qualities, major attitudes, major soft skills are: being a facilitator. He should facilitate ownership. He cannot instruct. He has to understand that people take ownership. Experimenter, learn fast, new technologies, implement new technologies, new methodologies, new way of working, and so on. Culture leader, inculcate healthy habits, which can be soft skill habits, which can be hard skill habits. It can even be ensuring that people stay healthy. When you have a healthy team, you have a performance which far exceeds any other team. And finally, an inspirator who forces, not forces, who inculcates in a team the the goal of the customer, who understands, who talks about it and ensures that it is disseminated to everyone. So my best example of agile leadership was a very favorite movie that I had seen, and it was a very inspirational movie. A lot of you must have seen this movie. For me, these are 2 of my favorite Hollywood stars, Annie Hathaway and Robert De Niro. I would call them the king and the queen of acting from Hollywood. And this is one movie called The Intern. The Intern is about a retired executive, a 70-year-old retired executive who decides to be an intern to a 20 plus CEO of a very fast growing IT startup. And the film literally talks about agility and agile leadership, though not in a very overt way, but in a very covert way if you can understand the meaning of it. And let me try and display a few of uh, the examples that are there. People who have seen the movie will be able to easily relate with this, but people who have not seen the movie should really make an attempt to see this movie. It's a fantastic business movie, a lot of personal touch to it, so I love this movie. And Ben Whittaker, that is Robert De Niro, is a 70 plus year old executive, 40 plus years of experience. He's a vice president, a retired vice president. And he used to be in the printing business. His company, his previous company, his 40 years of experience was in printing business. Which at some point of time had nothing to do with software. He had no idea of how software works. He joins as an intern. He wants to spend time, so he joins as an intern to a 20 plus year old CEO. He is ready to do any role in the organization. He is ready to do any role. Once somebody says, can you drive the CEO, and he says, sure, I can do that. And that is where egoless heterogeneous team concept comes in. He's not egoistic, saying that I was an ex vice president, retired, I used to handle a team of 500 people, so how can I do something like this? He says, nope, I'm there here to do any job, so let me do this job of becoming a driver. Okay, so he's ready to do that. He's ready to learn. He's ready to learn new technologies. He's ready to learn. There is a whole case there showing how he learns about search engine optimization and all those things. So he's ready to learn, and he learns very fast. He literally takes responsibilities without being asked. So one day he doesn't have any work. He's sitting doing nothing, and he sees a table. There is a common table in the middle of the office where a lot of rubbish gets piled. So people who have useless things on their own desk will come and put those things on a common table, and he says this is not good for the company. So he, without being asked, he cleans that table up, and Imagine, take all this with a reference that he was an ex-vice president. He offers advice. He is open to offering advice, personal advice, professional advice. He is open. He is there everywhere to support every person in the office. But when his advice is not taken, he's not critical. He's saying, my job is to advise you. My job is to show you how I think it should be done. If you think to do it in a different way, and if you think that is more efficient, sure, feel free, do it. He ultimately becomes the coach of the CEO. The CEO often keeps on asking him as to what is the right way of doing things, but she takes her own decisions. Jewel Austin, that is the lady, that is Annie Hathaway. She is the 20 plus CEO of a very fast growing apparel startup, but it's a technology company. Okay. She is the last to leave the office. If you see every day in and day out, she doesn't say, okay, you guys, I'm going home, my day is done. No, she is the last to go. She winds up everything. And there is a beautiful example that where she says, I need to clean up after everyone goes. She is very hands-on. There are a lot of times where she listens to a single customer's problems, issues, and then ensures that she responds to all of them. She has a customer focus. There is a very beautiful example of how a customer has ordered a gown from her website, and there is something wrong that happens to the gown, and she ensures that personally she sends that gown on a flight immaterial of the amount of money that she has to spend. But when she gets a positive feedback on it, the whole business explodes. So a very good example of customer focus. Another example of customer focus is she sends a package of her own product. She goes online under a different name. She orders a product from her own website and ensures that it gets delivered to her, to see how the packing happens, to see how the whole delivery process works out. And that is what she does. But at the end of the day, she is ready to step down to maintain a work-life balance. She finds out that she's not giving enough importance to her family, her husband is suffering, her kid is suffering, and all that. So she makes a very, very harsh decision of saying, I am now leaving the office. I need a professional CEO to take care of this work. I cannot end up disturbing my life. It's a different matter that Ben Whitaker talks her out of that idea and shows her how to make balance both professional and personal life. The biggest example of agile leadership, Ratan Tata. Here is Mr. Tata, a person who rubs shoulders with some of the largest CEOs and world leaders. Here eating samosas at one of his employees' house in Pune very recently. Great example. Ratan Tata with a 20-year, a millennial with a hands on his shoulders. So what a relationship that this gets formed. What a kind of story that this sends to all the millennials in the country. Here he is with stray dogs sitting outside the Tata Group headquarters with stray dogs. He loves dogs. So it is not just about symbolism that I love dogs and do a photo op. No, here he is sitting, feeding the dogs, all at ease. And finally, the best photo that I like. These are all the CEOs and all the interns that he has. And here he is, very humble way, kneeling down amongst all of them. Think about the message that when he is sending out to all these people, what will be happening to all these people when they are in his presence? It would really motivate them to work in a manner that is not heard of, right? For the sports lovers, quickly, two great examples of sports leadership. For people who are my age can relate to this this incident, this is one of the biggest incidents of in sports leadership, where we talk about individual leadership, we talk about individual responsibility, every person taking responsibility. This is, you people must have recognized, this is Anil Kumble. This is Anil Kumble bowling in a test match in Antigua on the last day. India had scored a massive total of 500 on that day. West Indies had to score a few hundred runs to save a follow-on or something of that sort. And unfortunately, his jaw was broken. His jaw literally was broken into two here. So, but he said that if I can take, because he's a spin bowler and West Indians are not too comfortable against spin bowling, he said, if I can take a few wickets, there is a possibility of India winning. So he came up and said, no, I'm going to bowl. The physio and the doctor said, you are mad. You cannot even open your mouth. You cannot bowl. He said, whatever you want to do, help me so that I can go and bowl. He stayed on the ground for the full day. Yes, the match did not end in the India could not win the match because of great batting by Shiv Narayan Chandrapal, who batted the whole day through. But he was able to stand there and bowl the whole day. He was like 2002 test at Antigua, breaks the jaws. India scored 2000 runs. He got Lara out. He got the wicket of Lara. And even with his jaw strapped, his bowling figures were 14 overs, 5 maidens, 29 runs, and 1 wicket. Amazing. Think about it. Amazing. What kind of example would he have set for others on the ground? Okay, he is ready to do his part of the job, putting his hand up. I am going to bowl. Nobody told him to bowl. The captain said, don't bowl. He said, I'm going to bowl. Okay, and finally the example of the current Australian cricket team lost the first test, lowest score, 36 runs all out. We could not get lower than that. Last test, heroic win. First visiting side to win at Brisbane after 32 years. Okay, one of the weakest Indian team on paper. On paper, we were known to be the weakest Indian. It was known to be the weakest Indian team. There were only fit 11 players were fit to play on the ground. They were all without top players. No Virat Kohli, no Bumrah, no Shami, no Ishan Sharma, nobody. No, all these big players were not there, either injured or not playing. In the third test, players stayed on the ground for 4+ hours. Vihari, Cheteshwar Pujara, all of them were on the ground even after being injured. Ravindra Jadeja ready to bat even with a broken thumb. The only thing that ensured that they were able to win was they were determined to win. They were able to focus on the customer, on customer satisfaction. The customer satisfaction, the customer was India as a country, and the satisfaction was that we need to win for India. They were able to deliver that. Okay, everyone put their hand forward. So I think I am out of time now. So like if there are any questions, feel free to ask those questions. I'm sorry that I took a little bit more than what was expected.
No, thank you, Khushru. It was wonderful listening to you and the amazing examples you have put forward. Yeah, we are quite short of time, but we'll quickly take this question. If you can give one of the challenging situation in your career while coaching, and how did you manage it? What actions have taken? So we have 1 minute. Can we quickly answer this question?
Come again. I just lost the question.
It's the same platform, right? Same login, It's not another.
Please
I would
mute.
request everybody to keep themselves muted and keep their webcams off.
Yeah, Nupur, go ahead.
Yeah, so Khushru, the question is, can you please give one of the examples of a challenging situation that you have faced in your career while coaching and how you overcame? Very quickly, we are over.
Yeah,
I mean, we are running short of
I
time.
think this is a question that can take the whole 1 hour, next 1 hour, but in the interest of time, see, agility is something that coaching cannot display. It cannot be displayed by words. It has to be displayed by actions. So there are a lot of examples. Like we know of in India, we have a 14-year-old boy who is an agile coach, and the way he explains agility is an example by itself. So for people to really display agility, please ensure that you can imbibe agility and then display it by your own actions in whatever you do. Even if you are taking seminars, you are training, you are doing anything, ensure that you are agile. Like today in the morning, between me and Shreya, we faced a problem about this presentation. Like I had told her I was going to talk from my own computer. I was going to use the presentation on my computer, and without remembering that, Shreya made changes on the presentation which was there on the server. And at the last minute, Shreya said, can you use this presentation? I said, no, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the presentation on my machine. But instead of discussing what were the problems, we decided to fix the problem. And the problem was she wanted two slides which were according to the innovation routes or the ANI format. And that is what we worked on to quickly make those changes in the presentation. That is agility, right? So if Shreya had said, and if I started shouting that, oh no, I had told you this, why did you do this? Why did you not do it? That's not the issue. The issue was delivering a successful talk and a presentation, right? That is important.
Thank you, Khushru. It was an amazing session. Thank you for answering the questions as well. It was wonderful having you for this session, and I'm sure the audiences has also enjoyed the details you have shared about agile mindset and agile leadership with such an amazing set of examples. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nupur. It was a pleasure talking at this forum.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this session.